Welcome to another episode of the Chill by Nette podcast. This podcast is created for those who are passionate about their personal development, health, and well-being. This is a platform for you to come chill by my personal stories and weekly tips in becoming a better version of ourselves and to live a better present. But first, let's chill. My name is Jeanette. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be recording this episode. This episode's content is something that I really wanted to talk about since a few months back. So if you were to ask me how do I normally keep my well-being in check, as you know, I'm someone who is quite invested into the idea of emotional wellness, and I do place a lot of emphasis on it on a daily basis. So I think a really big part of this, maintaining my emotional well-being, keeping my wellness in check is really having an overall mindful morning routine. So in fact, research has shown that having an overall mindful routine will generate more positive moods, which is then linked to higher productivity and also higher performance quality throughout the day. So that is also why I decided to create a morning routine. I will wake up as early as 6 a.m. just to give myself the space to create this routine for myself. And hence, I just wanted to dedicate an episode to talk about this. So in this episode, you will get a feel of how I start my mornings. So if you have been listening to my previous episodes, you would have guessed that I am a morning person. For one, I've learned that making my mornings intentional and starting out my day with a routine can be very beneficial for my well-being. And how we spend the first few minutes of our day sets the mood for the entire day. And that is also why I kind of spend so much effort to actually create a morning routine and, just generally making it a pleasant one so that I can actually stick to it as well. So in the past, when I wake up, the first thing in the morning I would do is to check for notifications. I would, check my phone, I'll visit social media pages, read my emails, read the news. And I realized that, this isn't particularly useful or helpful in terms of setting my mood right for the day. Because of the fact that, you just can't control what you see, right? For instance, if you happen to chance upon a negative news or just a negative comment, that may just instantly inject unpleasant feelings within you. So for me, I try as much as possible to refrain from checking my phones or emails, the first thing I wake up. And it's really for the sole purpose of being more in control of my mornings. And we really do not want to let an email or, someone's negative comment set the tone for our day, right? Yeah, so the point is we can be in more control of our mornings if we try to eliminate as many unpredictable variables as possible. All right. So think about it. What else can you do the first thing in the morning? For me, I would take a mindful walk, right? And in this episode, I will be sharing with you a part of my morning routine in detail. And that is, I'm going to be taking you through a mindful stroll, which I've been practicing for quite a while now. And by sharing this routine with you, I hope that you can find it useful as well. All right. So last time when I walk, I usually only walk when I'm feeling super stressed out. And when I walk, I often think about a task that I haven't complete. How should I tackle this problem at work? How should I reply the email? And walking used to be a coping mechanism for me to distract myself from my stresses or from my work. And I find that walking is a space for me to think about all my problems, right? I used to think that way, but don't get me wrong. I think it does help. It does help as a form of distraction mechanism to distract us from our daily stresses and all. Because the act of walking itself does stimulate the brain a little, right? You might think of new solutions, more creative ways of solving certain problems at work. But more recently, I don't wait until I'm stressed or I feel the need to think about something before I go on a walk. I started going for walks just for the experience of walking itself. And that was also when I started to incorporate walking as part of my daily routine I created for myself. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking you through a mindful walk, and feel free to take this episode with you for your mindful walk as well. So number 1, expand our attention to our feet as we walk. You don't have to feel the need to move any faster or slower or change the pace in any way. Just notice the ground under your feet. Next, as you're walking, move your attention upwards. Notice your legs and your hips. Notice any aches or pressures or even itches. And most of the time we hold so much of these tensions and stress in our hips. But again, the point of this is to feel the sensations. Don't need to judge our body or any sensation as good or bad. Just simply move and simply notice. Next, try and expand the awareness to your upper body, your chest, your neck. Notice the muscles on our necks, our shoulders, and just see if we can notice any unpleasant sensations. There's no need to change them or ignore them. We can just focus our energy to that sensation and simply just breathe into this sensation and ask yourself, how do you feel, without judgment. So in a way, we are kind of doing a body scan from our feet to our head. All right. So once we have done a body scan, and notice how we feel without judgment, let's now expand our attention from our body to our surroundings. Take one moment to notice one thing you could see with your eyes which you have never noticed before. It could be a new plant in your neighborhood. It could be the exact color of the pavement that you always walk but you have never noticed before. Notice any sounds you hear. For me, this is usually the sound of the birds and sound of the wind sometimes as well. And the last step is notice your emotions. And how you notice your emotions is to channel attention to the sensations on your chest and your belly. Breathe into those sensations. Ask yourself, do you feel happy, peaceful, anxious, or angry? Try to feel it and try to label the emotion that you are feeling. No matter what comes up, allow it to. And observe your emotions rising up like a wave, and also allow it to just roll through your body, and it may stay for a while or it may just be really a fleeting moment that the emotion stays within your body. As it leaves your body, observe it leaving as well. Do not try to change the emotion that you are feeling, and also, importantly, not to engage too much thoughts about these emotions as well. Just simply observe and watch the emotion for what it is, and just kind of feel it within your body and see how it moves within your body. All right? It may take some time for this emotion to leave your body, but when it does, observe it leaving as well. So again, as we walk, the point isn't to feel relaxed or to produce any positive emotions, but rather it is to really be in touch with whatever that is living within our body, to consciously cultivate the awareness for those. And this helps us to build our internal self-awareness. It helps us to form better relationship with the self as well, which includes our mind and our body. And this can keep us grounded in the present moment. Of course, as a byproduct, we may feel more relaxed, we may feel happier, less angry when we are aware of these tensions and emotions in our body. That might be because, when we are observing our emotions, we are kind of not caught in the emotions itself. So by observing our emotions, we create that space between us and the emotions, and this may in turn just make us more calm and more peaceful with the heightened awareness. And just from the fact that we are not our emotions, right? Because usually when we see that we are our emotions, when we say, I'm sad, I'm angry, we are equating ourselves to the emotions. You're labeling yourself as the emotion. I am happy, I am sad. And this kind of increases the tendency of us being caught in the emotion itself rather than being an observer. from a third party's perspective and just simply observe. So research has indeed shown that mindful walking is linked to better quality sleep. Young adults who walk for an hour per day throughout 4 weeks have fewer sleep problems and they just get a higher amount of sleep. So if you're walking right now, just know that you're taking in all these benefits that I have spoke about as well. Alright, so an overall mindful morning routine is definitely essential to help us set the mood for the day. And the key word here is mindful. So even when we wake up feeling anxious because we might have a bad dream or we just tend to foresee the challenges we are going to be facing in the day, having a mindful routine to set our mood right once we get out of bed is important. And this means practicing letting our minds be free of anxiety-provoking thoughts as much as possible, because the thoughts that appear in our morning usually sets the tone for our entire day. And of course, in the middle of the day, life may just throw us curveballs. We might just get a stressful email or someone shouting at us. But whatever it is, okay, know that you can still start off your day on the right note. And having a mindful routine is part of this equation, and it can affect how we greet those challenges that we face in the later part of the day. With this, I have shared my morning routine, but it really doesn't have to be a walk for you, right? If this is something that is not up your alley or this is something that you don't really fancy, there are many other types of routine that you can consider, right? The point is to find one routine that speaks to you and keep it consistent. The key is to have a morning routine that can keep your mornings more in control, which can help to calm ourselves down and to start off the day on a right note. But if you find that your day-to-day is already very packed, then just the fact that you are more intentional about the way you start your mornings, even by noticing how you spend your first few minutes or even seconds of your morning from the moment you wake up, is good enough, right? The point is to really be mindful about what we want to let into our mornings and what we do not want to let into our mornings. So morning routine is just one way that we can incorporate into our mornings to kind of help us stay away from these anxious thoughts, at least for the first few minutes in our morning, because they can have a huge impact on how we approach the rest of our day. Alright, so I hope this episode had gave you further encouragement on how you can improve your own well-being. And my tip is to establish a morning routine. Even a short one like a 15 minutes routine is good enough. For more tips and ideas on how you could start a morning routine, you can check out my website. I will be sharing a few other ideas on how you can potentially start your morning so that you can start your day on the right note. So with this, I would also love to hear your morning routine that you have managed to come up with, or maybe something that you have already been practicing. So feel free to reach out to me. You could drop me an email or you can connect with me on my Instagram @chillbynette. Thanks for chilling in. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. You can also connect with me on Instagram @chillbynette, on my website chillbynette.com to join the conversation and access our show notes. Have a great day, and we'll chill again very soon.